not listening to this, you're not one of us. And you deserve to be killed. Scrap chat. Don't be killed, but watch it. Or I'll find you. And I want you. And you are locked on VOP TV. Don't go nowhere. This is where the juice is. This is where all you need for entertainment, politics, movies, and whatnot.
And keep watching VOP TV. So keep it locked because I'm locked already, man. And it's money back guarantee. So you're going to have a good time because I do.
And please keep watching VOP TV.
I won't want you actually. I beg you. Subscribe. Watch it. If not, whatever you see. You better not touch that die because VOP is the plot.
All right, it's a beautiful morning, and yes, you are welcome to Sports Republic on this beautiful Thursday morning, Throwback Thursday. Yes, like it is being said popularly on the streets, and yes, we have a lot of juicy stories. A lot have gone down this week. Afcon is getting closer. Today is December 4, and we have about 17 days, to the start of Afcon Morocco 2025, of course, and teams are dropping their lists. We have the preliminary list. We have also the final list of some squads, the serious teams in quotes, and yes, we are still waiting for the squad of the final squad of the Super Eagles of Nigeria. But then also in other sporting events, Rugby World Cup, the groups have been announced as well, and the Tigers also still facing a tough spot, in the race for the FIBA World Cup qualifiers. And it is all going down, and we are here right here for the next 45-50 minutes thereabout to give you the juiciest stories on the world of sports. And I am your host, Afiz Ogumbanjo, and do well to follow us on all our social media handles, on YouTube, Voice of the People TV, and you can like, comment, subscribe to the channel, and as well turn on the notification button so that you won't miss any of the exciting updates on this show, Sports Republic, and also on other shows that we give you on that platform. So where we will be starting from? We will be starting from the Premier League. Of course, it went down midweek results. Yes, we saw a certain Erling Haaland, of course, becoming a centurion, scoring 100 Premier League goals, the fastest to do so in Premier League history. 111 games it took the big Norwegian, and he scored 100 goals. He has 100 Premier League goals to his name. He's just 25, by the way, and he still has a long way to go. That's a big man himself, Erling Brot Haaland. 100 Premier League goals. It took some players 200 games. It took some players 300 games, but yes, it's glad to see Erling Haaland. Very good to see him join a list of big names, the likes of Thierry Henry, Andy Cole, Matt Letizia. Look at the 100 club. Let's take you quickly to some names there. The highest goal scorer in Premier League history is still Alan Shearer. It's going to take a lot to get to where the big Englishman is. Alan Shearer, 260 Premier League goals. Harry Kane, in second, 213. Wayne Rooney, Manchester United legend, of course, with 206 goals. Mohamed Salah with 190. He still has, he's still playing in the Premier League, but he has a long way to go, to be very, very honest. 190 for the big Egyptian. Mohamed Salah, the highest scoring African in Premier League history right there. Andy Cole, with 187. this man, I think he scored no penalties. Of course, no penalties. 187 Premier League goals with no penalties. I mean, that is a big one right there for Andy Cole. Sergio Aguero, Frank Lampard, highest scoring midfielder as well. 177 Premier League goals. Thierry Henry, who people are saying he is the best player in Premier League history. Arsenal legend, 175. Robbie Fowler, Jermaine Defoe. Well, they are saying the likes of, let's come down to the likes of Paul Scholes, Darren Bent, Didier Drogba, Cristiano Ronaldo, of course, a Premier League legend himself, Matt Letizia, of course, Southampton legend, and there you have that man, the big Norwegian, Erling Braut Haaland. It was a fantastic game as well. He scored in that game against Fulham. It ended 5-4, but we also saw the likes of Alex Iwobi and Samuel Chukwueze also getting a fantastic performance in that game. People are saying that's the potential game of the season. Fulham 4, Manchester City 5, and we saw Samuel Chukwueze, yes, giving a fantastic performance, the Fulham player. After he followed up his performance after that man of the match performance against Tottenham Hotspur. Yes, he followed it up with 2 goals against Manchester City, his first 2 goals in the Premier League, and he did well for himself right there, talking about Samuel Chukwueze. And also, let's talk about, yes, that's the man himself, Samuel Chukwueze. Yes, that was his man of the match award, and also this was one of the goals he scored against Manchester City. And let's move on now to talk about Arsenal, who also did well for themselves. Yes, in the Premier League, still talking the Premier League. Arsenal, they maintained their 5-point lead, because when Manchester City defeated Fulham, they cut the lead to 2 points. But Arsenal, yes, they were back up against Brentford. It was 2-0 goals from Mikel Merino and Bukayo Saka right there for the Gunners at the Emirates Stadium. And yes, they are leading the pack. 33 points for Arsenal. Manchester City in second place with 28 points. Aston Villa, yes, they moved up to third. We are going to talk about them really soon. 27 points. Chelsea, we are also going to talk about them, yes, soon. Of course, they lost to Leeds, by the way, but they are fourth with 24 points. Crystal Palace with a win, 23 points. And Sunderland also. Sunderland, I think that's the team that a lot of people should be looking out for. They are worrying. I mean, they are doing really well for themselves, holding the defending champions of the Premier League, Liverpool, to a 1-1 draw at Anfield. And yes, that's Arsenal's goal scorer, Mikel Merino. Let me just take a quick second to talk about Mikel Merino. I mean, what a player. He is not a natural number 9, by the way. He is a central midfielder by trade. He can even play a defensive midfield. But somehow, Mikel Arteta has shifted him up to the central role, I mean, to become one of the strikers. And there you have it. At the start of 2025, 28 goals and assists in 2025 for club and country for Mikel Merino. Much more than the likes of Phil Foden, Enzo Fernandez, Xavi Simons, and Liverpool's Florian Wirtz. I mean, look at Phil Foden with 27 goals and assists for club and country. Enzo Fernandez with 24 goals and assists. Xavi Simons with 23 goals and assists. He has not been doing really well for himself. And that man, Florian Wirtz, yes, of course, the man who took Bundesliga by storm but has been struggling in the Premier League. 17 goals and assists for club and country. I think good one there for Mikel Merino. Like I said, he is not a centre forward primarily. He is a central midfielder, and also can play in the defensive midfield role. He did that for Newcastle. Did that for Real Sociedad in Spain, but Mikel Arteta has seen something different about the man. It is even transcending into his national team as well, with the coach De La Fuente also putting him as the number 9, and he's doing very well for himself. Arsenal, I think they are strong contenders for the Premier League this season. Some are already saying it's their title to lose, but then there's still a long way to go. I remember 2022-2023 season where they led up until March before Manchester City, stole the lead on them and eventually went on to win the Premier League. But it was fantastic. Then let's move on to Chelsea. Chelsea, after that 1-1 draw, where a lot of people were like, oh, they are back. They could be able to contend this season, for the Premier League title. But look at that. They lost 3-1 to Leeds United. And it was a good one for Leeds United, by the way, at Elland Road. The last time, by the way, where Leeds United played Chelsea when they were in the Premier League at Elland Road, it ended 3-0 in favour of the Whites. And they did it again, this time 3-1 at Elland Road. I mean, goals from Ao Tanaka, Dominic Calvert-Lewin as well, and Chelsea also getting a goal through Pedro Neto. I have my guest on the show with me this morning, Abiodun Akpeno. You're welcome to the show. I mean, I was just talking about the Premier League. Chelsea up against Leeds United at Elland Road. Arsenal still maintaining their 5-point lead at the top of the table. Well, it was fantastic. like I said, Abiodun Akuno, you're welcome to the show. What game really took you by storm in the Premier League, in the midweek fixtures? Look at Erling Haaland with 100 goals in 111 appearances. I mean, what more can you say about the big man?
Good morning to you, Leko, and to the listeners also. We had a great night of football yesterday across Europe, particularly in the English Premier League and the Spanish La Liga. For the Chelsea fan, I think they should just take a cheap view. Their team decided to be inconsistent yesterday against Leeds United. In fact, no one saw that one coming. After their brilliant performance against Arsenal, going into that game, we all thought it was going to be an easy peasy game for them. But unfortunately, they lost that game. So I was really shocked after I saw the result. But then that is what the English Premier League is all about. And for Arsenal, well, it will take an Arsenal team, for them to lose the league this season with the kind of momentum they've been able to, showcase to the world, and how they've been able to manage all of their games. It has been very, very fantastic. So I think for me, Arsenal have been very phenomenal, and I wouldn't be surprised if they, go all the way to win the EPL title. But then it was really a great night of football yesterday.
I mean, it was a great night. Yes, we saw goals, unexpected goals. I mean, we saw maybe not the red cards, the VAR drama and all of that, but we saw goals, and that's Aston Villa. I mean, they did well for themselves, coming down from, was it a 2-goal disadvantage? They went on to win that game up against Brighton. It was a fantastic goal for Aston Villa. But let's talk about Chelsea a minute before we move on to other stories. Looking at Chelsea, that game up against Arsenal, I mean, that fast start that they did against Barcelona in the Champions League, it was also given to Arsenal, the same treatment. But then up against Leeds, it was like the other way around. Can we say Chelsea, they are somehow consistently inconsistent? Because when they face big teams, they just have this certain ginger about them. But when they face, I don't want to say their mates, but I mean, lesser sides, much respect to Leeds United, they just seem to crumble. What's going on with Chelsea and Maresca's tactics?
I think it boils down to the fact that Chelsea, they found a way to actually, navigate top opponents really well. Case in point, the game in the Champions League against Barcelona. Prior to that game, the Barcelona fans have been crying, "Oh, we want Chelsea, we want Chelsea."
Yeah.
They got Chelsea, they were spanked. So that is the kind of performance you get from a Chelsea team, and all of that came to the fore against Barcelona, and step forward. The game against Arsenal, and it was a London derby. Of course, you expect the game to be very, very tough, and emotions will rise and adrenaline will also rise in that game. But all of that came to the fore in that game, and they were able to get a result against Arsenal. So with all of that on the table, you expect them going forward into their game against Leeds United to pick all 3 points. But boom, we saw what happened at the end of the day.
It was not that. Your boss will say, "Oh, you were."
Yeah, exactly. So I was really shocked. Because I was really, concentrated on the Madrid game. It was later in the night that I saw that Chelsea were actually trailing. So it was really a big shock for me that after what they did against Arsenal, fighting really hard. We saw the likes of Enzo Fernandez, Reece James.
Yeah.
None of them were in existence yesterday. So I was really, really shocked at the fact that Chelsea lost against Leeds United yesterday. But Enzo Maresca needs to be consistent if he really wants to compete in the EPL. Of course, no disrespect to Chelsea and of course the Chelsea fan out there. They cannot win the league, but then if you want to be in and around the conversation about we want to fight for the title, you have to be very, very consistent. And game against Leeds United are the kind of games you should be beating. You should be beating Leeds United.
Of course.
No matter what they bring to the table, you should be beating a side like Leeds United. But unfortunately, the English Premier League happened to them, Leeds United happened to them, and their inconsistency, crop up once again.
Absolutely. I mean, that is why we love the Premier League. But it was good to see Cole Palmer, yes, back for Chelsea. I mean, for some Arsenal fans, they will say, thank God they survived that game without a certain Cole Palmer. Chelsea fans are also saying, if Cole Palmer was there, it could have been a different story. Yes, he was back. He had a chance to also, put Chelsea level up against Leeds United, but he missed that golden opportunity. And also, Tosin Adarabioyo is also in the news. A lot of Chelsea fans are even trying to submit petitions on X saying they want to get him out, because also Nigerians are also saying congrats to Eric Chell, at least for doing one thing, for not calling up Tosin Adarabioyo. We are not even sure if he has pledged allegiance to Super Eagles, but even if he has, he's not being called up to the Afcon squad. We are going to talk about that much later on the show as well. And Tosin Adarabioyo, that's the man on your screen. He is in the news, and a lot of people are even giving Enzo Maresca, the coach, they are giving him some stick, saying that he shouldn't have started that game, that he makes his partners look really bad. But let's talk about Liverpool. That's another team. I mean, they are Champions League. I said that Champions League. The Premier League, don't let me stretch it too far. The Premier League defense has not really been what they've expected after signing a certain Florian Wirtz for £116 million. Following it up with Alexander Isak from Newcastle, £130 million. Look at their man, the king, the Egyptian king himself, Mohamed Salah. Back-to-back games now, he's been benched by Arne Slot, and they haven't gotten the result. They got it against West Ham, 2-0. Alexander Isak scoring his first Premier League goal for Liverpool. But now up against Sunderland. I remember after that game at Sunderland's ground against Arsenal, I mean, the Stadium of Light, yeah, it was a game where a lot of people were saying, it's a test to Arsenal's credentials and all of that. Arsenal could not survive against Sunderland. They broke Arsenal's clean sheet record and that. But now this is a team we should be scared of in the Premier League. They defeated Chelsea at Stamford Bridge 2-1 with the goal scorer, the winning goal scored by the man who got their first goal up against Liverpool. That's talking about Moroccan James Dean Talbi. This is a team we should be looking at properly. I know they lost to Manchester United. They drew Arsenal 2-2, and now they got a 1-1 draw against the defending champions Liverpool. What is going on with Liverpool? Is it time, that call again for Arne Slot to leave the club? Because that win against West Ham looks like paper over cracks. Or am I just, being too apprehensive about the situation right here for Liverpool?
Well, I think for Liverpool, a whole lot is happening to them right now. Their game against West Ham United. Of course, West Ham United, they are not the best of teams, this season. And you would expect Liverpool to go into that game and, get the job done. They did against West Ham United. Mo Salah was on the bench. But against a Sunderland side that have been very, very impressive so far, since they got promoted from the Championship. And if you have been following the trajectory of Sunderland, you understand that they've been able to, do well in the transfer market. Yeah. They brought in young players, coupled with some experienced players.
Yeah,
also.
Likes of Granit Xhaka, who has been a fantastic. Yes, that guy should be in the Premier League team of the season already.
I agree with you, and that will help them navigate, the muddy water of the English Premier League. So they've been able to, do well in terms of recruitment and, of course, setting the pace for what to expect in the English Premier League. Not every team that that goes that route, or because if you look at the likes of QPR in years past, you look at the likes of even Nottingham Forest also.
Yeah, it's not a guarantee for positive results, even when you spend a lot.
Exactly. So they've been able to balance all of that, and you could tell that these guys are really ready for the business in the league. So against Liverpool, I build up to that game. I was telling someone that this game is going to be a difficult game for Liverpool, and it panned out that way. So Liverpool, if not for the own goal scored by Insate Mukeli, it would have been, a loss for them. So I think for Liverpool right now, it is not about Mo Salah alone, because we saw that he was benched against West Ham United. They picked all 3 points. Against Sunderland, he was also on the bench. They couldn't pick all 3 points. So it is now the question about what is the problem of Liverpool right now? Some people were of the opinion that, oh, maybe because Mo Salah is not playing well and all of that. But then you could tell now that it is not about Mo Salah anymore. It's about the team problem. So
yeah, let me ask you a question, Abiodun Akuna. I mean, look at the likes of Virgil van Dijk. What is going on? I mean, it's been a meme now, on social media. The way he just turns his back when the player is about to take a shot. I mean, he did that against the Federico Valverde in 2022 in the Champions League final. We saw that Moses Caicedo goal. Also yesterday, just last night, that Champions League goal, the shot was coming through and Virgil van Dijk just turned his back. I mean, what is going on? There's this talk about him doing this aura defending. He doesn't put his body. And when we know the greatest of defenders, I mean the likes of John Terry, Rio Ferdinand, Nemanja Vidic, Vincent Kompany, they put their heads where people fear to put their boots. What is going on with Van Dijk? And Liverpool could have lost that game if not for that last-minute clearance from Federico Chiesa. The team is looking in shambles right now, and I think it's beyond Mohamed Salah, don't you think?
I agree with you. And like I said earlier, it is not about Mo Salah anymore. It's about the team as a collective. And if you really want to, achieve success, you have to also play as a team. And for me, Virgil van Dijk, I'm not a fan of Virgil van Dijk. Of course, some people will tell you he's one of the greatest defender in world football.
I don't agree.
In my opinion, I don't agree, because if you are a defender, your job is to go for the jugular, go for the ball, not playing how do I put it right now, a Rolls Royce kind of football as a defender. The likes of Sergio Ramos, Pepe, Maldini, of course they can play really good, but when it is needed for them to go for the attack, they go for the attack. So I really don't know what is happening to Virgil van Dijk. He needs to up the ante, he needs to up the game. Of course, the class is still there for him, but right now, his form is gradually nosediving. And I think Liverpool made a mistake in, actually renewing his contract. Maybe at the end of the day, it's going to turn out really well for them. But as I speak right now, as it stands right now, it is not looking good on his part. And of course, the team as a whole.
I mean, it's not looking good at all, because Liverpool, some are even saying that they made a mistake even signing Alexander Isak. They should have, invested that money elsewhere, by signing centre backs. But let's quickly look at other results also in the Premier League. I mean, we saw the likes of Nottingham Forest getting a win over Wolverhampton Wanderers. I mean, it's looking like Wolves will be getting relegated very, very, very soon in the Premier League. I don't think they will survive this season. We also saw Tottenham, yes, that's talking about Spurs right there, playing a 2-2 draw up against Newcastle, and a fantastic bicycle kick goal that strikers will be proud of. That was scored by Argentine defender Christian Romero. And also we saw the likes of Crystal Palace also getting a win up against Burnley. And yes, that's the game for me. That was the game of last night. That's talking about Aston Villa up against Brighton, just at the Amex, and it ended 4-3 in favor of Aston Villa. Goals scored by John-Paul Van Ecke of Brighton. Pau Torres getting an own goal. 2 goals by a defender. I mean, defenders are just popping up to score goals, by the way. We saw Malik Thiaw also last week. Christian Romero also with a brace. And now John-Paul Van Ecke of Brighton scoring 2 goals also for himself. Oli Watkins scoring 2 goals for Aston Villa as well. And also with goals from Andre Onana and Donyell Malen. And now they are third on the Premier League table. And they are playing. Guess who they are playing next? Come this Saturday, they are playing the table toppers, the Gunners, Arsenal FC. And also, yes, look at that. Look at that from Christian Romero. He is a centre back. This is a goal that Cristiano Ronaldo, Wayne Rooney, and let me add Alejandro Garnacho, they will be proud of. I mean, and he's scoring this even in front of a winger right there. Fantastic there from Cristiano Romero. And let's really look at the Premier League table as it stands. I mean, Arsenal, of course, we know they are on top with 3 points. We saw, okay, that's Daniel Munoz of Crystal Palace. He got the only goal up against Burnley at Turf Moor. Let's look at the table. Let's look at the table right there. Igor Jesus scoring for Nottingham Forest as well up against Wolves. And like I said, Wolves might just be heading for relegation. Yes, let's look at the teams right now as it stands after match week 14 in the Premier League. Arsenal with 23 points with a goal difference of 20, positive 20. Manchester City following 5 points behind, 28 points. Aston Villa, yes, just 1 point behind Manchester City with 27 points. Chelsea who were second before they faced Arsenal, are now in 4th place. Crystal Palace are in 5th with that win that they got up against Burnley. Sunderland in 6th. Bogey team for a lot of big teams this season. Trust me, Sunderland. Brighton 7th. Liverpool are now in 8th. It's looking really bleak for the defending champions. Manchester United, unfamiliar position. In 9th. Don't want to take shades to Manchester United fans. Everton in 10th. Tottenham 11th. Newcastle 12th. Brentford 13th. Bournemouth 14th place. Unfamiliar position for Bournemouth as well. 15th for Fulham. Hope they do better. Nottingham Forest, just like Abiodun could have mentioned, sometimes it's not about how you spend, it's about the results it gives you. Nottingham Forest are 16th, Leeds United are in 17th, even with that win up against Chelsea. West Ham are in 18th, Burnley 19th, and Wolves with just 2 points from 14 games. I think that's relegation form right there, and they are bottom of the table. So let's move on and let's talk about the German DFB Pokal, where Bayern, yes, they survived what I would say was a weird game, and they advanced to the quarterfinals. They've advanced to the quarterfinals of the German Cup, defeating Union Berlin 3-2 in a thrilling match. The visitors took an early lead through an own goal by Union forward Elias Ansah and a header from Harry Kane, of course, who has now scored 25 goals in 21 games in all competitions this season. For me, a Ballon d'Or nominee for sure. And Union Berlin pulled one back through Leopold Korfeld's penalty, but Bayern restored their 2-goal lead when Diogo Leite headed into his own net in first half stoppage time. And Korfeld scored another penalty in the 55th minute, but Bayern held on to secure the win. And the match was marked by chaotic moments, with Union dominating second balls and Bayern struggling with set pieces, a weakness exposed in their recent 2-2 draw in the Bundesliga. I mean, Bayern, they don't know how to really cope with set pieces. They also conceded a goal from it against Arsenal, yes, in the Champions League. And Kane's goal was his 25th of the season, matching Real Madrid's Kylian Mbappe's tally. And the England captain's movement was instrumental in Bayern's success, including a crucial header that forced Leite to score an own goal. And despite dominating possession, Union missed several chances to equalize, and Bayern's defense held firm. I mean, yes, let's look at other results. This a certain Algerian Ibrahim Maza, who scored the only goal as Leverkusen knocked out Borussia Dortmund. And also we saw Dennis Undav of Stuttgart. And these are the teams in the quarterfinals of the DFB Pokal. Leverkusen, of course, after that win against Dortmund. We also have St. Pauli, yes, who give an also fantastic game. Yes, we also saw Bayern Munich, yes, just like we mentioned, 3-2 winners up against the Union Berlin away from home. Freiburg are also there. Hertha Berlin are also there as well. RB Leipzig, Stuttgart with Dennis Undav, and Austin Kiel, yes, also in the quarterfinals. I think Bayern should be winners of this one, don't you think, Abiodun Aquino?
Absolutely. Based on their pedigree and what they've done so far when it comes to German football. But cup games can be really, really funny. Cup games comes with a whole lot of surprise. We saw Crystal Palace last season, and don't be surprised if a certain Hertha Berlin got to the final, or a certain Freiburg got to the final, or a certain St. Pauli got to the final. So cup games, they are all about surprises, and Bayern Munich shouldn't sleep on it. You have to be up and doing. You have to take the game to your opponents if you really want to win competitions like this. So it's going to be really, really interesting. But then, of course, like we said, they are the all favorite to go on and win this one. But then, cup games surely comes with a whole lot of surprises.
I mean, yes, it comes with a whole lot of surprises. We see that particularly, in the FA Cup in England. I mean, also in that DFB Pokal, there was a certain 16-year-old, yes, from Hertha Berlin, who a lot of people are liking to Real Madrid legend Toni Kroos. That's talking about Kenneth Aikot. Yes, he's 16 and he's playing really, really well. I mean, if he keeps his head down with less injuries, maybe he might get there, because it's youngsters that are dominating the game right now, yes, in the world of football. And I just mentioned Toni Kroos, that takes us to Real Madrid. Yes, a lot is happening at Real Madrid. Rodrigo is not playing. Kylian Mbappe on the other side is on fire. They secured a convincing 3-0 win over Athletic Club Bilbao. Yes, with Kylian Mbappe scoring a brace and setting up another goal. And the victory cuts Barcelona's La Liga lead back down to 1 point. And Mbappe opened the scoring in the 7th minute, receiving a fine pass from Trent Alexander-Arnold. and finishing with a perfect shot. And coach Xabi Alonso praised his team's performance, saying they played a complete game and concentrated for the full 90 minutes. And Alonso also highlighted Mbappe's great form, noting his movements and connection with Vinicius Jr. were key to the win. And the French superstar has now scored 16 league goals this season already. And it's not even, we are still in November, I mean December, not even November, December now, and he has scored 16. I think he had about 34, 35 last season. I mean, this man is really on Ballon d'Or form. And trust me, should Real Madrid win something this season, and if he has a good performance at the World Cup, maybe the highest goal scorer of France, if they go on to win that title, I think it's a no-brainer for Kylian Mbappe at this point. What do you think?
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. What more can you say about Kylian Mbappe? One of the most informed striker, in world football right now. Harry Kane is doing his own in the German Bundesliga, Erling Haaland in the English Premier League, and the Spanish La Liga also, Kylian Mbappe. So once again, he came to the party. I'm not surprised that Kylian Mbappe is doing all of the things he's doing currently, because when he was at Paris Saint-Germain, he always opined that he's a Real Madrid fan and he would love to play, at the Santiago Bernabeu to play for Real Madrid. So all of his dream has come to reality right now, and he's living that dream. So for me, I just want the other guys also to be on the same level with whatever Kylian Mbappe is bringing to the table. He's not been able to see much from Vini Jr. Of course, he's been trying, but if you are playing for a club as huge as Real Madrid, you have to be up and doing. You have to keep on delivering that top-notch performance week in, week out. So
let me hold you on Vinicius Abiodun for a second. I mean, I think Vinicius has now has accepted that role that look, there's no way I can outscore this certain Kylian Mbappe. Maybe I'll just be happy, with assisting him. I mean, but I want to see that combination, Vinicius Jr. For me, on his day, Rodrigo is Real Madrid's best right winger. Mastantuono or not, Valverde invited to that position or not, for me, I think it still has to be Rodrigo. Why can't Xabi Alonso just play them and put a certain Jude Bellingham behind them, just the way Don Carlo Ancelotti did it? Is there a problem that Xabi Alonso is really having with Rodrigo Goes at this point? And what do you think Vinicius Jr. can do to improve his form? Because I don't think he's going to get anywhere close to Kylian Mbappe in terms of scoring.
For me, I think it's about the collective of the team. If you go back to the era of the BBC, Bill, Ronaldo, and a certain Karim Benzema, at some point, Karim Benzema decided to be the creator and, of course, the assistant of the team.
Yeah, the number 9 assisting a winger.
Yes. So he did that consistently for the likes of Cristiano and, of course, Gareth Bale. If a certain Vini Jr. can come to the conclusion of that reality also, I think it's going to be a win-win situation for both parties. Of course, Kylian Mbappe is scoring the goal, but then I can also adopt the role or the role of being an assistant, a provider for the team. And, it puts us in good light. But, it's a game of ego. Let me put it that way. I think currently going on in the team right now, if all of that can be put behind them, and of course, if they fight for the badge, fight for the club, they can actually deliver. But speaking of Rodrigo, for me, I think I'm going to say it on this platform again that, fine, Rodrigo is one of my favorite players in the Madrid team. But it seems the young man is not in tune with the club anymore. He's looking, I don't want to use, an unpalatable word for him. He's looking like a player that is not ready to play for the team anymore. So I think it is really good for him to move on. And I think Madrid IRF should make a decision. If they want to sell him, they should make that call. If they want him to remain in the club, I think the manager needs to come to the understanding that, see, this guy is an important player in this team. In the history of our last, our 3 Champions League, you need to start, using him in the team frequently. So if they can actually iron out all of that in this Madrid team, I think it's going to be really good. But if all of that is not, being ironed out, I think Rodrigo should just move on. There are lots of clubs really willing to have him in their club right
a
now.
lot,
Arsenal, yeah, a whole lot. So I think in Madrid, hierarchy should just make that decision, let Rodrigo go, and of course, Mascatonu is there, a young player signed from River Plate. It could be the next big thing for this Madrid team. But right now, I think the face of that Madrid team is a certain Kylian Mbappe.
Of course, it is Kylian Mbappe. And yes, talking about moving on, Real Madrid looking to build on this momentum in their next match up against the Celta Vigo. And yes, if it's happening at Santiago Bernabeu, you can't take anything away from Real Madrid. Quickly, let's move on to the Coppa Italia and let's give you the results. Yes, Coppa Italia out there, the cup competition in Italy. And yes, we saw Inter Milan. 5-1 winners against Venezia. Look at that man, the number 94 right there. Young man, Francesco Pio Esposito. Fantastic goal he scored right there for Inter Milan. We also saw goals from Andy Diouf, goals from Marcus Thuram. He scored 2. Also we saw an assist from Jan Bisek as well. Good performance for Inter Milan. Also a fantastic goal from Angio Amboni. And this was also a fantastic game. 1-1 it ended between Napoli and Cagliari in regulation time, even after extra time. And it went up to penalties. 10-9 is ended in favor of Napoli. 20 penalties played. And Napoli went on to edge that one. They won by 10-9 in the penalty. And of course, we saw their goalkeeper, Vanja Milinkovic-Savic. That penalty, I think, is one of the most powerful shots in history. It even beats Chloe Kelly's shot against Nigeria for the English women in the World Cup. Yes, the last World Cup that was played. Good job for Napoli sealing also their passage to the next round. Atalanta also 4 new winners. And I'm calling on the NFF, please let us look at Atalanta's young defender, Ernest Ahano. Yes, he's Nigerian born. Yes, Italy are claiming him right now. These are players we need, for our squad going into the future. That's the man right there, number 69, Ernest Ahano. Yes, NFF, please let's go and talk to him. He is fantastic. And just the way we saw a certain Benjamin Frederick. Why not? Why can't you see a certain Ernest Ahano as well, playing for the Super Eagles one day? And speaking of the Super Eagles, yes, Afcon is coming up. We know our opponents. We know we have Tunisia, the Carthage Eagles. We have Uganda, and we also have the Taifa Stars of Tanzania. And speaking of Tanzania, they've announced that 53-man provisional squad for the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations, led by coach Miguel Gamondi. And the squad features a mix of local and foreign-based players, with top clubs, Young Africans, Simba FC, Azam FC, and Singida Black Stars, contributing the majority of the players. Some notable foreign-based players include Sabri Kondo from Aachen of Sweden, Novatus Miroshi, yes, who used to play for Shakhtar Donetsk, but is now with Göztepe in Turkey, and also Kevin John from Aalborg BK of Denmark. I think their biggest player, the biggest name in the Tanzanian squad will be former Aston Villa striker and their captain, Mbwana Samata. Yes, that's the squad, 53-man list at this time when we have 17 days to go to Afcon. So people are just bringing their 53-man preliminary list. I want to ask you quickly, Abiodun Akpino, is it a Group C thing? Because the Super Eagles of Nigeria too are releasing 55-man preliminary lists with how many days to go? And the release date for the final squad is supposed to be December 11, which means we have just in a week's time, we should be dropping the final squad. What is really going on? Why the late timing? I want to talk about the Super Eagles now. Why the late timing, dropping the 55-man preliminary list? We've been asking for this list a long time. In fact, at this time, we should be knowing the final squad. What is going on? For me, I think is this usual thing that goes on with the NFF. Let's submit that list is going to go through a lot of hands. Put this one there, my slots. I want this player to play, because when the list came out, I saw names. Fine, there are 4 players from the MPFL. Looking at this Tanzania squad, a lot of their players are from their leagues, from their current league, the likes of Simba and Young Africans. Why are we not seeing the bulk of players from the MPFL? And it's not even sure that these 4 players of the MPFL will make the final squad. What is wrong with the timing? What do you think is going on through the minds of Eric Chell and also NFF? What are the roles they are playing?
I think a lot will be going through the mind of, Eric Chell, who happens to be the manager of the team. And at the end of the day, the bulk of the blame, comes back to his table. So for Eric Chell, I think what the Nigerian Football Federation are doing in terms of, the 55 professional man squad is about to open the pool for other players also to come into the team and fight for a spot. But I want to believe Eric Shell already picked his own players that are going to prosecute the Afcon. The core of the team is already known to Eric Shell.
To him, yes.
Yes, he's already known to the manager. Maybe the NFF, will want to try and, convince him to actually put one or two players from their own spot. But then, looking back at that, provisional squad once again, I think Eric Shell already made a decision about the guys that are going to be in the national team. But I think it's really good that we are having this conversation. Of course, there's been a whole lot of, cries about, they shouldn't invite this particular player anymore. They shouldn't invite this particular player anymore. So with all of this pool, the manager can actually assess the player in camp and, of course, make his own judgment about, okay, I think I can work with this particular player. And the Afcon is already, you don't have that luxury of, time anymore to want to assess everybody. You don't
because
have
these
that
players are not
luxury.
even training together. You can't even pick the final squad from them because there's no international break up until March, so you can't see these players.
Funnily enough, you only have few days before the guys will resume to camp. So it is really going to be very tasking for the manager. But like I said earlier, I think the manager already
Knows the squad.
have that list on his he already has that list on his in his coffer, and maybe just waiting for whoever is going to make the cut at the end of the day. So I'm really hoping they make the best of the guys that will go on to represent us. There's been talks about a certain Ryan
Alebioshu of Blackburn. Yeah.
Alebioshu, yes, of Blackburn. I think that is going to be really good to see another, right back in the absence of Online, if he's not making the squad at the end of the day. So I'm really open to want to see guys that can actually bring, quality football into the national team. Of course, we love the old guard in the national team, but then if you are not giving us the deserving service we want from you, I think it is, really good for you to leave the national team. So let's see how it pans out. But right now, I think what the NFF are currently doing. But as for Eric Shell, trust me, the man already, understands those who are going to be in the national team.
Absolutely, it should, because maybe he's just trying to please the people that wants to see their players being called up, because 55-man squad at this time is not the way to go. And one word answer quickly, just one word. Do you think Super Eagles will win the Afcon? One word, yes or no?
No.
You're not patriotic. You are not patriotic, but then we have to be real. You have to see the way other teams are also preparing. There are teams that they've already submitted their final squads, and we are still releasing 55-man list at this point in time. Is not the way to go. Yeah. And yes, this is still Sports Republic, and I still have my man with me, Abiodun Akpino. Yes, sir. Well, let me say time is fast spent. Of course it is, but then time runs when you are having fun. Let's quickly take news from the boxing world, and let's talk about Terence Bud Crawford. Yes, his historic win over Saul Canelo Alvarez has been overshadowed by a major setback. The American boxer has been stripped of his WBC super middleweight title due to unpaid sanctioning fees for his last two fights, including that one over Alvarez and his 2024 bout against Israel Madrimov. And the WBC confirmed that Crawford has been stripped of the belt, ending his short-lived status as undisputed champion at super middleweight. And the decision was made after Crawford failed to pay the required sanctioning fees, despite repeated warnings and communications from the WBC. And the WBC, yes, they announced that interim champion Christian Mbili will face Hamza Shiraz, yes, the Briton, for the now vacant title. And Mbili, who fought Lester Martinez to a draw on the Crawford-Alvarez undercard, enters the fight with a record of 29-0-1, while Shiraz holds a 22-0-1 record. It's not looking good for the man they call Terence Bud Crawford. He has to get back. he still has other belts to hold on to and also to defend. Let's move on now to rugby. Yes, where we are seeing the Rugby World Cup. The groups have been announced. South Africa, the Springboks, they will know their opponent. In fact, they've known their opponents as they aim to defend their title. Can they go back to back because they won it in 2019 and also in 2023? 2027, yes, the draw has been announced, it's been confirmed with 24 teams placed into 6 pools, yes, for the tournament in Australia. And of course, one of the standout matches is host Australia up against the 2015 champions New Zealand, yes, who actually defeated Australia to lift that title. And they will meet for the first time in the Rugby World Cup pool stage. And the Trans-Tasman rivals, who boast 5 men's Rugby World Cup titles between them, are joined in Pool A by Chile and debutants Hong Kong, China, and defending champions South Africa are in Pool B with Italy, Georgia, and Romania, while Argentina will face Fiji, Spain, and Canada in Pool C. And for me, I think in this one, I think Pool E is the one to look out for the most because of France, Japan, and USA and Samoa will be facing up. In Pool F, we have England, Wales, Tonga, and Zimbabwe. Yes, South Africa and Zimbabwe are the ones that will be representing Africa. South Africa, yes, like I said, they are the defending champions. They also won it in 2019. They will be looking to also win in 2027. Which year, which month, which year, which decade, which century are we going to see Nigeria performing at the Rugby World Cup? I mean, that's a very, 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 very big question. Yes, you're still on sports stories. Let's move on to basketball, where Nigeria's D Tigers, yes, after promising that they will restore national pride after Super Eagles failed to qualify for the World Cup, they want to restore national pride by qualifying for FIBA World Cup, but they are facing it really, really, really hard right there in the FIBA World Cup qualifiers in Tunisia. And the guard, Ikechukwu Nwamu, is pointing to a lack of preparation and team cohesion as key factors, and the team has won just 1 game out of 3. And Nwamu says a limited preparation time has led to rushed decisions and poor spacing on the court. And he said we didn't really have enough time, and there were a lot of changes from Afrobasket and the qualifiers. I mean, and the D Tigers' struggles have resulted in frequent turnovers and lack of organization. But Nwamu is optimistic that they can turn things around. And the team's campaign has been marked by an 88-78 overtime defeat to Tunisia, and also a first-time ever loss 69-55 to Guinea, and a 75-69 overtime win over Rwanda, thanks to Maurice Udeze's 30-point performance. For me, I think, well, all these are excuses. A lot of teams are playing, for this World Cup qualifiers, and also they have the way they also prepared. But then it's down to the way we do right here. It's becoming synonymous with Nigeria, that lack of preparation and cohesion. I still have Abiodun Akuno with me, and this time let's quickly go to the last story. Let's go to the NBA, where Giannis Antetokounmpo suffered a right calf strain just 3 minutes into the Milwaukee Bucks game up against the Detroit Pistons, forcing him to exit the court. And the 2-time NBA MVP fell to the floor without contact, clutching his right leg, and was helped off by teammates. And the Bucks announced he won't return, citing a right calf strain, and are awaiting MRI scan results for confirmation. Before we go on the show, I mean, Antetokounmpo, it's been a rocky week for him and the Milwaukee Bucks, because silently he's looking to leave the NBA club right now. He's looking to leave. He's looking to leave Milwaukee Bucks, and he wants to move. He's been discussing with his agent. Bucks have come out to deny such rumors, and now he's injured. Do you think they should move on from Giannis? Because, I mean, I think it's looking like it's time to go. They also have a certain Damian Lillard. What do you think is going on with Giannis and Milwaukee Bucks quickly?
Well, I think I wouldn't advise the Bucks to actually treat, Giannis in such manner, because he has been a loyal fans, a loyal player to the club. And looking back, you really want to say, okay, this guy has been very, very consistent over the year for them, and you want to have him in the team. But with all of the handwriting on the wall, it shows he really wants to leave the club. I remember I was discussing with, someone that I think it's time for Giannis to actually leave this club. But he's saying this guy has been the best player for them. If they can actually, help the team in terms of making some couple of signings also. But it is not easy that way, to bring top players into the team and you want to go on to compete against the big boys. So for me, if he's making that decision that he wants to leave, fine. But then it boils down to the Bucks, management to also to make that decision if they want to retain him or they want to let him go. But now that he's injured, he's still your player. You have to back him. You have to support him.
Absolutely.
Yes, all through the injury, and of course when he comes back into the team, then thereafter you can go back to the table. Make a few talks, and of course, if the decision is for him to leave, why not? He's done his part for the club. He's been a loyal player to the club. So, and I see no reason why they shouldn't back him that is injured right now.
Yeah, one player who has certainly left his club is talking about legend, 40-year-old Chris Paul, who has actually left Los Angeles Clippers. They won their game over the night, but then they've said it is time to go. But one thing that just struck me was the statement they released. They said that Chris Paul is trying to win, but that doesn't align with their ideas. I don't understand that coming from LA Clippers. But I want to say a big thank you to Abiodun Akpina for joining me on the show today. This is where we will be calling it a day. We'll be wrapping it up on the show Sports Republic this morning. Media news is coming up next on the Voice of the People TV. And I am Afiz Ogubanja, and I'm saying, please do have a wonderful rest of the day. Bye for now.
VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
In a world where power shifts with every headlines, news breaks and events happens, we bring you unbiased and explicit information on politics, economy and state of the nation. We break down the chaos. Facts, not fluff. Truth, not spin. We discuss not just politics, but a glimpse into the future. Join Moses, Chukuma and Fina on Voice of the People TM. Voice of the People Television. Now you have more than a voice.
The red carpets, awards, the razzmatazz, music, fashion, interviews, and more. Spotlight on Voice of the People Television. Let's feed you with all the juicy stories in the global entertainment space, bringing you the glitz and glamour as they hot. Stay tuned to Spotlight, 1 p.m. Monday to Friday. Spotlight on VOP TV. Entertainment like never before. From the views on the street,
We go to bed empty hunger.
to the blaring horns of a hustling city, the loudest voices of the common man got a medium to be heard.
This particular administration, they were coming unprepared.
It's not a bad thing to renovate the president's lodge.
Through top-notch programming, unbiased reportage of news, sports, business, entertainment, and cultural documentaries, Voice of the People 90.3 FM became a symbol for 21st century media. And now, a new baby is born. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV, youthful, full of vigor and penchant for excellence in the continent's media space, exposing the wrongs, applauding the rights, dissecting the news without fear or favor, through factual and accurate stories and contents.
Corruption kills three things that makes a society.
Representing the interests of the people and giving them a voice. Voice of the People TV is here to stay towards building a fair society. VOP TV, Voice of the People Television, truly a voice for the people.
Behind every broken desk lies a broken promise. Education shapes the nations. But who is asking the right questions? Introducing Edu Dialogue, the show that goes beyond the surface, exposes the